When does it start snowing in Boise, Idaho? This video is going to be good for you, especially if you're coming from a warmer climate. And this is not what you think of when you think of winter, so stick around. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Craig Flood. I'm a real estate agent here in Idaho, and if you're looking to move to Idaho and you want to know everything there is to know about the area, then be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel where I post new content each week for people just like you looking to relocate to Idaho. So today's video, we're going to talk about snow. We're going to talk about when it snows, how long winter is, the impacts of snow on you and what your daily life might look like. And also be sure to stick around to the end where I'm going to answer questions that people have left in the comments about winters in Idaho so that I can make sure that you get all your questions answered. Additionally, while we're talking about this, I'm going to be highlighting the Highlands. The Highlands is about 10 minutes from downtown. It's a straight shot up to Bogus Basin if skiing is something that you're into, or snowboarding. Additionally, if you're looking for beautiful mid-century homes, you're going to find that in the Highlands. If you want access to the outdoors and the foothills, you're going to find that in the Highlands. And if you want access to new construction, you're going to find that in the Highlands. Honestly, this is one of my favorite neighborhoods. It is a classic place for a Sunday drive if you really appreciate architecture and mid-century design. Let's talk about the snow season in Boise, Idaho. So when we're thinking about Idaho, Boise really receives moderate snowfall compared to other areas in the state, which makes it a really good option for people coming from warmer climates who want to live in Idaho but don't want to sign up for a really severe winter.
That sounds about right.
In Boise, we really expect snow kind of between November and December starting and going through February or March. And in terms of annual snowfall each year, typically we range right around 19 inches. Now, I just wanted to compare Boise to other major cities in the state just to kind of give you a bearing of what Boise's like in comparison, but also if you are considering other cities, you can kind of see where they stack up. So for snowfall, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho comes in right around 69 inches per year. Lewiston, Idaho comes in at 11 inches a year. Interesting thing about Lewiston, it's also one of those areas that really doesn't have a severe winter. Boise and Lewiston are definitely at the top of your list if you want to move to Idaho and you don't want a severe winter. And if you're curious to know more about Lewiston, I did a video on it and you can check the description down below. Now, Pocatello, Idaho, they're kind of the southeast corner of Idaho. They get 44 inches a year. Idaho Falls, just above Pocatello, they get 39 inches a year. And Twin Falls, Idaho, which is kind of between Pocatello and Boise, they average right around 18 inches a year. Now that we've talked about Idaho, let's talk about some other major cities around Idaho that you may be considering on a move. Denver, Colorado gets 55 inches of snow a year. Bozeman, Montana gets 63 inches of snow each year. And Salt Lake City in Utah gets 54 inches of snow each year. So again, Boise averages right around 19. So you can kind of see Boise is in the heart of all this beautiful terrain, Idaho, Montana, Utah, but it doesn't get nearly the amount of snow that some of these other major cities do. Next, let's talk about temperatures in Boise, Idaho. What is it going to feel like if you live here? Boise's coldest months are definitely going to be December and January. And here's a breakdown of what those temperatures are going to look like on average between highs and lows. In December, an average low is going to be 18 Fahrenheit, and an average high is going to be 37 degrees Fahrenheit. In January, your average low is going to be at 24, and your average high is also going to be at 37. Now, in the last video I did, which was pros and cons of Boise, Idaho, and if you want to watch that, I encourage you to go click on the link in the description. But Boise is not the most temperate place, so we can get as low as zeros and as high as 100 in the summer. So we have a huge spread across our 4 seasons here. So just know that if you're moving here. It's also important to note that Boise is a high desert climate, which means that nights can get quite cold even during some of the warmer months. Temperatures can swing significantly throughout the day. So maybe you start the morning in a vest and a long sleeve shirt. Midday, maybe you're in a t-shirt, and then evening comes and you're back to a vest and a long sleeve shirt. But I will say this as well about winter. There is a lot of sun in the wintertime, which is lovely. Now let's touch on winter driving. The city of Boise and the surrounding cities do a really good job of keeping the main roads cleared when we get a snowstorm that rolls through. But residential streets may remain snowy and icy for a longer period of time as our snow trucks are dealing with kind of the main arteries. In fact, as you can see in this clip right here, now granted it did snow a little bit today, it covered it up, but this main road right here on the right, typically this would be dry at this point, right? The sun will probably come out tomorrow and dry it. But the smaller kind of side street here, this is gonna have snow built up on it.
All right, as you guys can see here, this is what the road looks like. So this is what you'd be driving through. Kind of hard to get through if you don't got the right kind of car or the right kind of tires. But on the main road, it's gonna be a lot better. But again, once you get into these side streets, I mean, it's just a ton of slush that you're gonna be driving through.
If you're somebody moving from a warmer climate, just know that snow is gonna impact your daily routines. In terms of driving, it's gonna take a little bit longer to get from A to B. If your kids are in school, it's possible that school is going to close because of the snow conditions. For example, this morning when I woke up, I got a notification that my kids' school got canceled again.
Oh, come on.
This could mean road closures. Maybe there's a really steep hill and we have a lot of snow on it and cars are sliding down it. So it could mean they're going to close that route, which again just means you're going to have to take a detour and travel is going to take a little bit longer. And another thing you might be thinking is, what am I going to do during the wintertime? And I would say there's lots of things. Boise is a great city. There are activities you can go to. There are operas, live events. If you like getting outside, you can go hike the trail system. You can go cross-country skiing. If you like skiing and snowboarding, you're just a hop and a skip away from Bogus Basin. And one thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is you're finding ways to stay active in Boise, Idaho. This is something I'm considering, and just last night I was checking out a local jiu-jitsu place. I'd be curious too, if you've done jiu-jitsu, leave a comment below and let me know what I can expect, or if you love it or if you hate it. Now I'm gonna go over some questions that you guys have left as you're trying to figure out, hey, what is winter like in Boise and what's snow like in Boise? Charlie Crash 3450 asks, what type of vehicle is best for driving in the snow in Boise? Front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive. So I would say the tires you have on are really important. If I had to choose between front, I love front wheel drive. I personally drive rear wheel, but I have 4-wheel drive, so it makes it really easy to get around. I personally don't run snow tires. I have some all-season tires, and then I typically run snow tires on my wife's minivan. Now with that being said, I was just talking to a friend who works for Goodyear. He doesn't even run snow tires. He told me that the new all-terrain tires are so good that they don't have to run snow tires, which I think I might end up trying this year or next because I really hate having to go swap out tires and then store snow tires in the shed. So depending on vehicles, I think you can really make anything work. The one thing I would say, if you do have a truck, typically trucks tend to be really light in the back, and so I would say you might consider throwing some sandbags in the back to weigh it down. And here's another question from Charlie. How often do bad snowstorms happen in Boise? So a major snowstorm where, say you're getting more than 6 inches, that's gonna happen pretty infrequently, maybe like 1 to 2 times a year. Smaller snowstorms where you're getting, say, 1 to 3 inches, let's say that's gonna happen 5 to 10 times a season. And blizzards where a lot of snow comes in, maybe high wind comes in, low visibility happens. That's not super common, but you might expect something like that every couple years. All right, next question by Megatrend. What driving tips do you have for driving in the snow? So in terms of tips for driving in the snow, one, I would make sure to give yourself extra time to get from A to B. I would encourage you to get really comfortable with your vehicle. In addition to that, if you're coming up to a stop sign, just expect that there may be some ice between you and that stop sign and start braking really early on. The last thing you want to do is come up to a stop sign or a stoplight, hit your brakes, and not stop and start to slide into the intersection. Additionally, don't do any jerky moves. Don't crank the steering wheel if you don't have to. Don't accelerate quickly because you could brake and lose traction. And the final one would be go warm up your car so you're not miserable and freezing when you're leaving your house. Next question from Pirate928. Does the homeowner have to clear the snow on the sidewalk in Boise? Yes, you have to have it cleared by 9 a.m. So let's say you move here and you own a home and you have a sidewalk in front of your house. You are responsible for getting that cleared off and safe by 9 a.m. Next question by LT Regulate. Does Boise have problems with inversions in the winter? Yes, Boise has problems with the inversion in the winter, and you might be thinking, what is an inversion? Let's get into that real quick. An inversion is a layer of warm air trapping cold air beneath it and preventing it from rising and dispersing. In fact, I'm pretty sure we're in inversion right now. I'm gonna show you a video clip of that. This is what an inversion kind of looks like. And inversions can last a few days or maybe a week or two. All right, next question we have Tucker Tube 254 asks about snow plowing in subdivision neighborhoods. So yes, typically you can get snow plowing in subdivision neighborhoods. Again, it's not gonna happen as fast as it happens on the main artery, the main roads, but if you're on a private road, obviously they're not gonna take care of that for you. That's something that you and or an HOA would need to come together and deal with. All right, Audio Fileman 7047 asks about specific winter clothing needed. Here we go. I'm gonna put myself right here. You're gonna want to layer. So here I am starting in a t-shirt. From there, let's put on a long sleeve shirt, right? That's a good start. From there, let's add a vest. And then from there, let's add a warm jacket. Now with a warm jacket, I encourage you to get something that's got a little space in it. Don't get a jacket that's too tight, otherwise you're not gonna have room for all this other stuff. And then to top it off, the cherry on top, let's throw a beanie on top to keep that head warm. And that has it. When you're thinking about moving to Boise, Idaho, and you're thinking about how am I gonna stay comfortable in the winter months, be sure to layer. Also, get a pair of boots, right? Get something with some really good traction. You don't want the snow coming up into your shoes. All right, Sandra, CM1DU wants to know if snow removal services are available for seniors who cannot shovel themselves. Yes, you can hire companies locally that will come take care of your sidewalks and driveways so that you don't have to. Obviously, that's gonna cost some money. Additionally, you could also go the route of just getting to know your neighbors. We have an elderly woman who lives next to us, and either I will wake up in the morning and go shovel her driveway and sidewalk, or my kids will run over and shovel her driveway or sidewalk. Get to know your neighbors. They're an asset. You live in a community. I think it's great when the young take care of the old, honor them and respect them, and find ways to help them and live independently. So that wraps it up. That is snow in Boise, Idaho. If you're curious to learn more about that, or if you have questions about that, or you're thinking about moving here, again, be sure to reach out to me and my team. We would love to assist you in that process. You can call, text, or email days, nights, or weekends, and we would love to be your guide on your journey of calling Idaho home. And we'll see you in the next video.